Why do you call me Lord? Luke 6:46 says, Jesus making a statement to his disciples, why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not the things that I tell you to do? Lord in the New Testament, kurios, meaning boss, meaning master, or supreme one, or owner, if you will. And Jesus addressed his disciples and said, why do you address me as Lord, and you do not do the things that I tell you to do? I wonder in Christianity today, in our culture, if we do not have a figurehead Lord, so to speak. We call the Lord Jesus Lord, and yet he's a figurehead. As in history, you had kings and queens that governed at one time, and now kings and queens in certain places are nothing but figureheads. They make presentations, but they have really no governing authority. Could it be that we've tried to relegate the Lord Jesus Christ as simply a figurehead leader? You know, Peter was the king of the gaffes, if you will. Peter, someone said, only opened his mouth to change feet. In Acts chapter 10, Peter had the Lord spoken to him, and Peter says in response, not so, Lord. The Lord told him to do something, and he was saying essentially, no, Lord. Can you imagine? And it may just be that you wouldn't verbalize it and say, no, Lord, but by your actions, you are saying no to the Lord's directive in your life. He has spoken to you through his word, maybe the preached word, maybe through your prayer time, maybe through someone who's wise and you have sought their counsel, and yet you put that out of your mind, or you ignore it, or have a delay, or you procrastinate, so to speak. You are essentially saying, until you fulfill what God has told you to do, you are saying, no, Lord. You remember several years ago, and I mean several years ago, I'm dating myself here. It was a very popular movie that came out entitled Urban Cowboy. What I remember about that movie is that Western wear, the price of Western wear just went through the roof. Boots, belts, buckles, and hats, they just became astronomical in price because of the popularity of that movie. Well, I remember real cowboys looking at people dressed up like cowboys, and they would say things behind their back like this, that gentleman there, he is all hat, no cows. And there was even a term that they came up with. They called these individuals who dressed up in Western wear but didn't have a clue about horses and cows. They called them dudes. Then you heard about dude ranches. Well, I wonder if we don't have Christian dudes in our midst, Christian dudes in our church. These are people who are all talk, no walk. All talk, no walk. Let me ask you a question. Let's say you're ill and you go to the doctor, and the doctor makes a diagnosis and says you're going to need this medication, pick it up at the pharmacy, and we're going to have a follow-up visit in a few weeks, see how you're doing. You come back for that follow-up visit, and the doctor says, how are you doing? And you say, well, about the same. The doctor's a little perplexed, and you say, well, I need to fess up about something, though. You know that medication you prescribed me? Well, I haven't been taking that medication. Actually, I didn't even take the first dose. The doctor looks at you in disbelief, and can you imagine what a doctor might say? They may say, well, why even visit me? Why even have a doctor's visit? Why even have a doctor if you're not going to follow instructions? That's exactly what we need to consider today. Why call him Lord if we're not going to follow his instructions and his directions in our life? Why do you call me Lord and you do not do the things that I tell you to do?